I like to travel everywhere in Estonia. It's a small country, but there's still a nice scene here, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. And I just want to go everywhere, basically. So if I'm invited to a club, I don't care which country it's in. You know, it's just fun to travel around a bit. Maybe even more so to see places where you don't normally go on a vacation or stuff like that. So that's part of why I'm doing it in English as well. I just figured it would be more fun to do it in a place where most people wouldn't. I could have done it in Dublin or in London, I suppose, but I just figured it would be more fun to do it here. And I've done gigs in this venue before, and I really love the venue, so I thought it would be a nice setting for the special. I'm really happy to be here.
The stand-up scene in Estonia is really new. It's only 5 years old. There's no rules about what stand-up can be or what it can't be. And I think that they're just growing up without a lot of these old rules of stand-up, and I love that.
Well, I know that Magnus is really big in Sweden. He's done a lot of Swedish specials and shows before.
We bring Magnus here for third time now because Estonians seem to really like him.
Magnus' style is like rude, but then again like smart and intelligent, funny.
Let's hope he's up to his hype and everything.
I am going to walk out of this with my jaw really hurting because that's what the best comedians do, that I'm just cracking up so much that it's just driving me crazy.
Tonight, I think the audience is going to be smacked around the head with comedy. They're going to get laughs, but they're going to get intelligence. They're going to get truth. They're going to get something directly straight at them. I can't wait for the audience to be hit with this show.
Ladies and gentlemen, please have a big round of applause for Magnus Betnér!
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for coming out. I'm really happy to be here. I do have a fever, that's why I'm sweating like a pig, but you know, you really don't want to call in sick when you work an hour a day either, so I'm gonna struggle through this somehow. Yeah, it's really great to be here. I decided to record my special in Estonia because, you know, fun to be closer to Russia. See if they come over the border and try to whisk me away if I say something pro-gay. It'll always be fun. Am I the only one who finds it funny that the country with the anti-gay legislation has a president who likes to take his shirt off and cuddle with tigers for photo ops? Because I've only ever seen two other guys do that, and that's Siegfried and Roy. I mean, how much more gay can you get? You know, it's just Russia is a country of closet homosexuals. You know, if you're a Russian, just suck a cock already, release some tension. The rest of us really don't want to get invaded. Yeah, this is going to be awkward to the Swedes in the room. There is nothing as embarrassing to Swedes as listening to other Swedes speak in English. Because for some reason we all think that we sound like Marlon Brando from The Godfather or something, when we really do sound like that Swedish chef from The Muppet Show, so I think it clashes in people's heads. But it's really good to be here. I always need a gig when I feel like shit, you know, it's been a rough week. We had the election in Sweden a couple of days ago, and the racist vote was up to 13% now. In Sweden, I really don't understand. All of Europe seems hell-bent on trying fascism again. What the fuck? Haven't we done this before? Every single country. And the countries where the fascist parties are doing the best are the ones that came out the worst of World War II. What the fuck are you doing? Read a book before you vote, for fuck's sake. But it's... I mean, I guess I should be happy. All these fascist parties and the nationalism and all that shit means there's gonna be a war in Europe again in 10, 15 years' time, and that's fucking great news to Sweden. That's how we made our money back in the day. We'll just let you guys fight it out and then sell our stuff to whoever seems to be winning. You know, that's... Hey, can we transport some troops through Sweden? Yeah, sure, go ahead. Well, you do know that we're the Nazis, right? Yeah, but you seem to be doing pretty fucking well right now, so help yourselves to Norway by all means. We don't really give a shit. Sweden isn't neutral anymore, though. Of course, we're in the war on international terrorism together with the rest of you because we've been ass-fucked by our government too. And even in Sweden, people go, well, you have to support the war on terrorism. Yeah, because it's really been blooming in Sweden lately, hasn't it? We even had our first suicide bomber in Sweden like 2 years ago. You know, typical Swede, though, only blew himself up. So I mean, how do you even fuck that up? I mean, you're smart enough to build a bomb, but you're not smart enough to pull the string at the right moment. Fuck, you know, build a bomb, walk into a crowd, pull the string, job done. Well, you know, I'm really not much of a people person. So did it in my garage. Sadly, he was Muslim, the Swedish suicide bomber. Pisses me off when terrorists once in a while happens to be Muslims, because usually that's not the case. And people still have this view of every terrorist being a bearded, crazy Arab guy screaming about Allah, when it's simply not true. The latest numbers we have on terrorism, they're from 2 years ago. Anybody know how many acts of terrorism there was in the entire EU 2 years ago? All right, I'll tell you, because I can feel your curiosity brewing here. 1,249 acts of terrorism in the EU 2 years ago. How many of those were Muslims? 3. That's it. And that's even counting the Swede. And you know, that shouldn't fucking count. That's just a work-related accident, as far as I'm concerned. Got onto the wrong statistics sheet somehow. But people like picking on the Muslims. They really do. 2 Swedes died fighting the war on terrorism as well. I mean, most other countries are used to that, but in Sweden, that's the first 2 Swedes to die in a war for 400 years. The news stories were insane. And people were, even if you're against the troops, you should support the 2 dead heroes. Really? Shouldn't we support the ones who are still alive? I mean, aren't they better at their job? I mean, if you look at it, I've never been in the army, but I suppose they give you some sort of crash course. You know, shoot, cover. Some curious Swede, shoot, cover. Oh, how did that go? I was jumped by one of those racist pricks in London. A guy from the BNP, their fascist party. They're almost gone now because they have the UKIP instead, which is the clean-cut fascist party. So the BNP is almost gone. But I was jumped by a guy after a gig because of something I said. I don't even remember what it was. Probably that you should be allowed to be black or gay, maybe, or even both at the same time. You know. And he is furious. He's screaming. Do you know what the problem is with my country? No, I have no idea, because he didn't seem like the type of guy that would bring things up like they do drive on the wrong side of the road, or, you know, that they have a fucked up measurement system that nobody could possibly understand unless they've been drinking beer for breakfast since they were 4, you know, or the fact that they invaded Iraq on false premises because Tony Blair was sucking Bush's cock for 8 years. I didn't think that he would bring any of that up, so I just said, no, I have no idea. What's the problem with your country? The problem with Britain today is that we are mixing races. Really? You live in a country full of fat, pink people with poor dental health. How could some fresh genes possibly be the problem for this island? I think you're on to the solution, if I'm to be perfectly honest. You know, if there's something we need to do, it's mix more, for fuck's sake. Just mix. If for nothing else, you know, for the permanent sunblock. I'm just saying, if the environmentalists are even half right, we're gonna need it. You know, I don't want my kids to be see-through like I am. It's fucking crap. You know, mix, for fuck's sake. But that's, yeah. The environmentalists, they're fun too. You know, yeah, I care so much about the environment. I celebrate Earth Hour once a year. Didn't your entire family go to Thailand on vacation and then you compensate that by switching your lights off for 1 hour? That's a pretty fucking good deal if you ask me. But whatever makes you happy. Yeah, I did come out as a bisexual in Sweden a while back too. Yeah, I mean, to me it wasn't a big thing, it was just an accident. I was interviewed by a gay magazine. And if a gay magazine want to talk to you, they're going to ask you gay questions. That's why they want to talk to you. So, like, first question was, so, could you fuck a guy? I'm like, yeah. Okay, but would you want to? Yeah, sure, there are plenty of guys that I would want to fuck, but you're not one of them, so move on, you know? No, but you live with a girl, right? Yeah. Turned out that way, and there are plenty of girls that I would want to fuck that I'm not going to fuck either, so I really don't see the line of questioning here. Now, I just want to make it clear, you're bisexual then? Yeah, everybody is bisexual, and people who don't believe that, you know, they just haven't been to prison. It's just a matter of availability, right? And he was like, so can I actually print that you're bisexual? Yeah, sounds reasonable, don't you think? I mean, not that it's normal for journalists to print what you actually do say, but, you know, if you want to change that, go ahead. And he put this in the magazine, and it became a big deal. And people, even gay men, came up to me, offended. They're like, well, you can't be bisexual if you haven't tried it. What the fuck? Is that the rule now? I can't be bisexual if I haven't tried it? Well, what does that mean? You can't be straight if you're a virgin? That's a really strange rule, you know? I'm just saying nobody would say that if I said something seemingly straight in an interview, no matter how colorful that might be. If I said, yeah, I want to fuck 4 black chicks with really big tits, and I want to come a little bit on each tit. That's what I want to do. Nobody would go, how do you know that? You've never tried it, have you? No, but I'm pretty sure it would be nice if I ever got the chance. Still today, people are so fucking tense when it comes to homosexuality. I really can't see how it can be anybody else's problem who somebody else fucks. I really can't see it. And especially male homosexuality, there is a big difference. Female homosexuality, yeah, still a big deal, but not nearly as big as male homosexuality. And if you don't believe that there is a difference, just go to any club tonight. I promise you, you're gonna see women claiming to be straight, making out with other women, with the only intent to make their boyfriends horny. I dare you to find the opposite. Because for some reason, you know, it's a big thing, and I really think that people are narrow-minded enough that they look at the gay male couple and go, oh, dick up the ass. Ah, that's disgusting. Ass fucking. Ah, I really do believe that that's part of it. And that's hilarious, considering fucking a girl up the ass, that's the biggest achievement for any young man in Europe today. Any 20-something man, that's the only thing he wants to do. It has to go up the ass. That's the biggest thing. That's why he's constantly nagging you about it. It's got to go up there sooner or later. When he finally gets to do it, it's the biggest thing. He's gonna call his grandma. Finally did it, grandma! Finally put a cock up somebody's asshole. Well, good for you. Fucking a guy up the ass, no bragging rights. Which is strange. I mean, either you like to put your cock up assholes or you don't. Well, it's different. No. No, it's a cock and an asshole. Well, guys don't have tits. Well, if we're gonna be picky, I know plenty of guys with tits, both fake and real, so. Well, I could feel the difference. Yeah, sure you could, you fucking homophobic. I'll even prove you wrong after the show, you know. We'll cut a couple of holes in a drape back here and you can have a go, you know. I don't know, this could be a girl. Or that Swedish comedian. I really can't tell the difference. Yeah, Russia, they have a law against swearing on stage as well. Did you know that? I'm most likely not going to be touring Russia the nearest future. You know, and I had a gig cancelled in Ireland too, because they have a blasphemy law. It's illegal to blaspheme, and I had a gig booked and they canceled it, and they were like, we can't put you on stage. Why? Well, there's a new law and that says you can't blaspheme, and we think you're probably gonna. Yeah, most likely. But what's the penalty? Well, it's a fine. All right, I'll just pay it. That's fine. You know, well, it's 25,000 euros. Well, okay, Stockholm is nice too. You know, I'll just stay at home. They have a law in Ireland that says you can't say anything that might offend a large number of adherents of any religion. What the fuck does that even mean? That means comedy is dead. If, you know, you can't offend. If you're easily offended, just start a religion. You know, I have my own one, and I'm a large number of the adherents of this one, and you offended me now, so just pay up. Well, one thing I'll tell you about Muslims, burqas, they should be banned. What the fuck is happening to Europe? We're doing the exact same thing to Muslims now that we did to the Jews in the 30s. The exact same thing. You want to ban burqas? Do you even know how many women in Europe wear one? 5,000, that's it. In the entire European Union, 5,000 women wear burqas. You want to ban them? Yeah, it's oppressing women. Really? Maybe we should sweep our own doorstep first before we start picking on the Muslims. And also, if you want to ban the burqa to protect her, do you think that's going to work, really? If we make that illegal, do you think he's going to go, if you forced her into it, is he going to go, oh, I didn't know it was illegal. I'm sorry, honey. Here's your bikini. Go shopping by all means. She's just never going to leave the house. That's the only thing that's going to change. You know, I don't think a law would be. I think there should be a law regarding burqas, though. I mean, I'm not a big fan of laws in general, but there should be one regarding burqas. It should say, if you wear a burqa, you must wear roller skates. You know, because that would freak the racist assholes out if they were floating around like, you know, black ghosts. So, they're taking over Europe and they're floating around. You know, it would just make my day a bit happier. Nobody seems to give a shit about freedom of speech anymore. I don't really care about comedy. That's just my job and my biggest passion in life. That I can live without that, but we need freedom of speech. And the only time people in Europe seem to be behind freedom of speech is, again, when it comes to picking on the Muslims. You know, cartoons of Muhammad and stuff like that, you know, drawing a cartoon. That's, well, we have to support freedom of speech. Yeah, but don't pick on the fucking Muslims every fucking time. Pick on the other ones. We even had a Swede doing that. And he was years after Denmark, too. So he was not, you know, in the forefront of anything. He's just a racist asshole, him as well. And he drew a couple of those cartoons. And I was invited to do a TV show with this guy. Lars Vilks is his name. And I was like, why would you do that? You know, in Sweden, don't pick on the minority. Pick on the other ones. You know, pick on the majority. And he was like, well, I just wanted to prove a point that we need art to push the limits of free speech. Well, all right, but you did it wrong. Here's what you want to do. If you want to prove how important art is and freedom of speech, how important it is in Sweden and piss people off, here's what you do. You make an art installation where you have the Swedish national football team dig up Astrid Lindgren's corpse and fuck it in the eye sockets. And so, well, that's why I'm touring Europe now, because, you know, my point came across maybe a bit too well, you know. I did live in New York to do comedy for a while as well. That was rough. They hated me. And I don't mind the occasional hatred from the audience. You know, I even enjoy it once in a while, but when it's every night for 3 months, it kind of drains you. You know, that was the most frustrating period of my life, to be doing comedy where you couldn't talk about anything that interests me. You know, I tried to talk about the army, forget it. They almost killed me after a gig. You know, bring God up. They believe in God, apparently. And, you know, I find that funny once you pass the age of 9. So we had a bit of a disagreement when it came to that. You know, 95% of Americans claim they believe in God. 95%. I mean, it's obviously going to change now that they finally have health care, but, you know, when I was there... When I was there, they didn't, so it was a big deal. I couldn't bring anything up. Abortions. Most natural thing in the world. I'm like, you can't bring it up in a comedy room. Where the fuck else would I bring it up? On the bus? That would be rude, even by my standards. I even had a club owner in London come up to me, and that's a liberal city. He came up to me and he was like, I did a gig on the Friday and I was working the same club on the Saturday. And he came up to me and said, really good work yesterday, but tonight, can I ask you please not to talk about abortions in your set? I said, no. He said, well, there's gonna be a lot of young women in the audience tonight. Well, good, because that's kind of my target group. It'd be pretty stupid doing it in front of men, don't you think? No, but it's a sensitive issue. I wish you'd leave it. That's my point. It shouldn't be. You know, if you're pregnant, have one just for fun. Make a new kid later. Adopt one, whatever. Just don't flush your life down the toilet because you got knocked up when you were 18. It's just not worth it. You know, the only reason it is a big issue, a big deal, is the fact that women get pregnant. If men got pregnant, nobody would give a shit about abortions. Nobody would care. You know, God's always been a man writing books to be read by men in front of other men about women who are either on the balcony or in another room, depending on what version of God you believe in. You know, all else equal, if men got pregnant, I promise you we'd have drive-through abortions by now. You know. Yeah, give me a Big Mac and a coat hanger, please. Knocked up, apparently, so... No, I just need to get rid of this inconvenience before I eat. Yeah, I know it's 8 months old, but it's mine, so... Shouldn't be your fucking problem. No, I'm gonna put some shellac on it and use it for a book stand, if you must know. Even in Sweden... Even in Sweden, people go, well, the 28th week, that's a bit late for an abortion. I strongly disagree. I'd say 5 years would be perfectly reasonable. And if you don't agree to that, you just haven't been to my daughter's school. I mean, I love my daughter. She is the best. I would do anything for that little girl. You know, apart from being home and taking care of her. But everything else. But her fucking friends... I can't stand them. I'd say half of them should have gone while there was time. The fuck, didn't you have a kid? No, we aborted her. What the fuck? She was 4. Yeah, well, you know, her finger paintings were rubbish, so didn't really see much of a future for her. She's the best, my daughter. I really, it's fun being a father. It's a bit frustrating, though, you know, having to bring a girl up in this shithole of a world where women doesn't get the same pay as men. Crime doesn't get processed as often or as fast if a woman happens to be the victim. You know, there's a page 3 girl in every European country, except for the UK. They scrapped it now. Not for moral reasons, don't be fooled by that. They only scrapped it because everybody has porn in their phone now, so they don't need it. I find it hard to bring a girl up, you know, and because we do treat them entirely differently, you know, depending on what sex they are. And I'm the same. I remember when she was like 3, she fell from the sofa once, and I ran up to her. I was like, oh, honey, how did that go? Maybe you shouldn't climb so high and jump around and stuff, because you're so tiny and cute. Maybe we should, you know, just read a story instead. I could read you the story about the girl in the tower. Yeah, you know, the one that does her hair and makeup all day. Because that's what girls do, you know? And she wants to get out of the tower, but she can't because she's a girl. So she has to wait for a guy to come get her, you know? Big, strong guy on a big, strong horse. Not the gay jumping type of horse, but you know what type of horse I mean. You know, a boy 3 years old falls down. How did that go? I don't know. He's crying, so I think he's alive. Get up! Honey, you know what Daddy did? Daddy bought you a stove. Yeah, a tiny one. So you can practice. Yeah, you can practice being a woman. Because they cook and stuff. What are you still doing indoors? Here are the car keys. You're 4 next week. Get out of here. You know? Maybe you could cook for the teddy bear. Yeah, and the teddy bear can go work at, you know, some real job. With numbers and bosses and stuff. I think that would be great. And honey, if the teddy bear comes home from work, he might be really tired and in need of a hug. And in that case, you have to hug him, because otherwise he might have to go hug somebody that costs money. And that would be... And then, you know, people expect these two to compete on equal terms when it comes to getting a job 20 years later. No, I really don't think so. And I think it's, you know, fucking them up that we treat them so differently. Just walk into any department store and ask for children's clothes. Well, is it a boy or a girl? Who gives a fuck? She's 2. 2-year-olds, they're almost animals. Does it matter? You know, just give me some good clothes. No, there are no good clothes for girls, because they're gonna be pink, white, yellow, lacy, furry, good for nothing but being cute. In the boys' clothes department, dark colors, sturdy fabrics, just hose them off when they're done playing, you know. Tells you just a little bit about the different expectations we have on these two groups when they're growing up. And yes, I do consider myself a feminist. I do. In the awkward position that I really love porn. Oh, I love porn so much. I cannot get enough of porn. And if you don't like porn, it's just because you haven't seen the right stuff. There is something out there for you, I promise. And I watch everything. I'm such a crazy porn fan. I'll watch, and except for Japanese porn. I can't really, you know, watch Japanese. But to me, every Japanese porn thing is strange. Because I was brought up here, you know, that's the reason. But to me, everything, the Japanese porn, there's going to be a lot of mechanics involved. I really don't get that stuff, you know. The bukkake is a Japanese invention. If you haven't seen that, it's basically like combining a porn clip with a yogurt commercial. It's, I find it strange, you know. And they have lots of stuff on trains. What the fuck? The rape porn is huge in Japan. And I can't watch rape porn. I realize that it's a fantasy. I know that it's 2 adults, or if it's Japanese, 5 adults and the rowboat usually. You know, we want to act this fantasy out and make a porn film out of it. But I can't watch it. I think it's disgusting. And I mean, that's because I'm brought up here. They probably view our porn the same way. They probably go, what the fuck? This is disgusting. Why did that plumber fuck her? Oh. Why didn't he just rape her on the train? Oh. Can't watch this shit. Oh. It's disgusting. And the sex shops in Japan, they're huge, like 4 stories, sell everything. They sold stuff like pussy-scented spray. Now, I am a big fan of the pussy smell. I think it's nice if you're having sex if there is a faint smell of sexiness in the air, but has anybody ever felt the need for more pussy smell to the extent where it would be reasonable to have a spray can under your bed? I mean, how would you even incorporate that into the act? Again, to me as a Westerner, that would be rude. Oh, it's not you, it's me. I just don't think you're smelly enough. You know, it's just strange. They had like 10 different kinds, too. I only bought one, so I couldn't compare, but you know. And everything is in Japanese. You have no idea what's what in Japan. It's just everything is in Japanese, obviously. So, you know, it probably went from young to old. You know, old probably being 17 since it's in Japan, but it is weird. There's so many strange things when it comes to porn. Did you read about this guy in England who was on trial for possessing 5 images of extreme pornography? Yeah? One guy, good. Another huge porn fan. No, but what struck me, I mean, I didn't even know that there is a law in the UK against extreme pornography. We don't even have it in Sweden, and we're pretty big on laws, you know. We don't have one, and they have one. You can't have pictures of extreme pornography. And I was like, what would be extreme exactly? And they've actually stated in the law what you can't have. In the UK, you can't possess images of 3 different things. The first one is you can't have an image of somebody fucking anybody who's dead. Reasonable law. I understand that one. Not for me, though. I mean, if there are any necrophiliacs in the room, when I'm dead, you can fuck me. That's gonna be totally fine. I'm gonna be dead, you know. Just form a line and fuck me. You don't even have to lube me. It'll be good, you know. It's my gift to you. But I do get the law. And how do you, by the way, if that's your thing, how the fuck do you work that into your relationship? Honey, couldn't you sit in the freezer for just a little while? The fuck? You're so strange nowadays. Honey, stare. I do things for you. It's got to be really hard. That's illegal. The other thing you can't have pictures of in the UK is somebody fucking an animal. That's illegal too. And I get that law too. I even agree with it. Not when it comes to big animals though. That should be perfectly legal. You know, if somebody fucks a cow, the cow isn't even gonna know that he did it. You know, it's like, no, I'm fine. I had an arm up there yesterday. You know, it's... Plus, you're gonna kill me and eat me, so I don't think fucking me makes that big a difference, you know? But I understand the law. You know, somebody fucks a hamster or something, it's gonna burst. Wouldn't be good. That would make for a pretty nice picture, though, but that's illegal. And the third thing you can't have in the UK, you can't possess an image of any sexual act where one of the participants was likely to get injured. That's pretty tricky. You know, what does that mean? That definitely means people under the age of 22 just stop taking pictures when you fuck, because you have no idea what you're doing. That's gonna hurt one or both of you each and every time. You know, that's just, I remember when you were 19, you had no idea, we were just horny and hormones all over the place. Going, I don't, sorry, basically making you whole, you know, it's, And this guy, he was sent 5 images of anal fisting in his email. But the thing is, I mean, yeah, that probably hurt, right? But the thing is, it's perfectly legal in England to fist each other. That's perfectly legal. If they want to fist each other, as long as everybody's you know, happy about it, they can do it. But they can't have a picture of it. That's a strange law. Even stranger is the fact that he was the guy in the picture. Now, fisting isn't my thing at all. It's not even a remote fantasy. But I'm just saying, if I ever manage to get an arm up my ass, yeah, I think I would like a picture of it. You know? Just so I wouldn't have to go through the trouble of getting it back up there if I wanted to relive it, you know? Did you read the... This is an interesting story as well. It's, you know, because everybody is obsessed with fame nowadays, and this is how far it's gone. Did you read this story about Luca Magnotta, a Canadian gay porn star, apparently? Here's what he did. He killed a guy, dismembered the body, fucked the torso, and put it on YouTube. Because he thought that would make him famous. That's how insane our society is. What are you looking at me like that for? I didn't do it. I was just telling you about this guy who did it. And what really struck me as odd with this story is the fact that in the English language doesn't have a word for that. Somebody who kills somebody and dismembers the body. There is not a word for that in English. There is one in Swedish. What the fuck? I mean, we don't need that. We don't have anybody doing that. It happens like once every 30 years in Sweden. English needs it. There's like one a day in Southern California. I'm going to give it to you, English speakers. You know, you need it. It's styckmord. That's the word in Swedish, styckmord. The murder is the mord, and the dismembering of the body is stycka, so that's the styckmord. I'm giving it to you. You need it. I mean, why would you take the other crappy Swedish words like ombudsman and smörgåsbord? That's fucking crap. Styckmord, you need that one. I'm giving it to you. And people always tend to, look down on people who do that more than people who just kill the person. Like dismembering the body would be a bigger issue. I'm just guessing that's probably almost always for practical reasons. Let's take an example. We're having a party, my place. You're all invited. We get insanely drunk. We accidentally kill somebody. We didn't mean to do it. We didn't mean to do it, because we're all nice people. But we kill somebody. We are gonna come up with the idea, hey, let's fucking chop this guy up and depart of it in small pieces. I have a job to go to tomorrow. I can't deal with this. That's probably how it works, right? And to me, that's almost impressive. How do you even do that? I don't have any tools at home. How would you, dismember a body? You can't do it with an Allen key from IKEA. That would take weeks, So it's almost impressive to me, We had a huge, strange debate in Sweden on circumcision. It's because I find it interesting. In Sweden, you can't slap your kid. That's illegal. And I think that's a really good law. I know a lot of other people in Europe disagree. They think it should be allowed. I think if you can't win an argument with a 9-year-old, you shouldn't have fucking had kids to begin with, It should be illegal to slap your kids. Maybe not other people's kids, but that's a different story. But in Sweden, it's illegal. You can't hit your kid, but it's perfectly legal to cut its dick. To me, that's strange. Now, I'm talking about kids here. What grown-ups do to their dicks, I couldn't care less. I'm probably the most liberal-minded person you will ever meet when it comes to grown-ups' rights to do whatever the fuck they want with their own bodies. If you're a grown-up, remove your foreskin by all means. Add another one, Decorate your dick like a Christmas tree that blinks when you fuck. Cut it in half, give half of it to a homeless guy on your way home from work. I really don't care. Just leave the kids alone, regardless of sex or religion, because that's the only reason people do it, that it's religious reasons. And religious people make up other reasons. They go like, well, it's much more hygienic to be circumcised. Okay, yeah, that might be 100% true. But there's another idea. Soap. That way we could wash the penis and let the kid be intact until it can decide for itself. Will that work for you? And of course, Americans do it not for religious reasons. They do it because they think it looks better. That would make me slightly uncomfortable when I was like 13, 14. Realize, hey, there's a piece of my dick missing because my mother thinks this looks better. Oh. What the fuck? But that's... The main reason, of course, is religious, which I think is interesting. That religious people go, well, I believe in a God who created everything, and everything is just perfect, except for that little piece of skin at the tip of the cock. That has got to go. How the fuck did that even... How do you fuck that up, God? I don't know. I guess I was drunk, Was supposed to be skin and cock, and then just cock at the end. I fucked it up. Then you fix it. I can't fix anything now. That's up to you. You really have to take that away. You don't have to bother with the other shit that I fucked up. The fact that you have hair on your shoulders even though you've had clothes for thousands of years. Or that, I don't like gay people, but I still put the prostate where you can reach it. You don't have to... fix that, but the little piece of skin at the tip of the cock, that has got to go. I'm firm on this. I always find, religious people funny. And that's probably, I was brought up a Christian myself, so that's probably part of it. My father is a priest. And that's the thing. Now that's something that people tend to ask me after gigs. Is that true, really? Is your dad a priest? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't lie to you. That's why the fuck would I do that? If I say something happened, it happened. If I say I have a daughter, I have a daughter. If I say my father is a priest, he's a priest. Why? If I wanted to lie to you, you know, if I wanted to be a liar for a living, I'd be a priest. You know, like my father. I wouldn't. I mean, it's an easier gig as well. You don't even have to write your own stuff. You know, what's your problem with God, really? Well, because people go, well, you wouldn't be so cocky if he showed up. Yeah, I hope I would. I think if God came here and say, hey, I'm here now, I would still say, well, I still don't like you because you're a hateful, fear-mongering, racist, pedophile, harboring, women-hating, gay-bashing asshole. So I still don't want anything to do with you, you know? We go, well, you're gonna go to hell for that. Which I find hilarious. Threatening an atheist with hell? What the fuck is that? It's like, oh, don't, you know, don't do that. You might get run over by a unicorn. I'll gamble. You know? I've never, ever seen my daughter as angry as when she found out that I turned down to be in the Swedish version of Strictly Come Dancing. I don't know what it's called here. In some countries it's called Strictly Come Dancing. In some countries it's called Dancing with the Stars. In Sweden it's called Let's Dance, because we can't just use one of the two original English titles. We have to change it to another English title for some reason. And I was invited to be on this show, and naturally I turned it down. And she wasn't supposed to find out. I mean, she doesn't need to know everything I do. That would definitely fuck her up more than having a father for a priest, I can tell you. And she found out, and she was so fucking angry. She went from happy to, in a second, she went, I hate you! What, why? You were invited to be on my favorite show, and you turn it down. I hate you. That's my favorite show. You don't even have time to read me a story at nights because they have to go to your fucking job every night. I don't even know what you do for a living. I was like, honey, I don't either most of the time. You know, how do you explain that to, she was 7 at the time, to a 7-year-old? What do you say? I was like, honey, please don't be angry. You know, daddy just isn't that type of whore. You know? There are limits to how far daddy bends over and takes it up the ass without lube. You know, and dancing with a beautiful girl on national TV is definitely not one of them. You know? And I think we're fucked in a society where people don't read anymore. If they do read, it's either, you know, the conspiracy theory nutcases, the ones that think that Julian Assange can't be anything but a hero because he was a champion of free speech and the free press. Yeah, well, he was still a rapist asshole. Can't you possibly combine those two? Not every rapist is evil at his job. Well, he didn't rape anybody. Then go to Sweden and answer a couple of questions. Shouldn't be that fucking hard. And the stories are pretty similar. You know, the first girl that he allegedly raped, I wasn't there, so I can't say it happened. But the thing was, they both agreed that they were going to have sex. Both of them wanted to have sex. And she fell asleep. And that's when he snuck in. And according to Swedish law, that's rape. And I believe that is a very good law. I don't think you should fuck sleeping people. I'm old-fashioned that way. Unless you're in a long relationship, obviously. That's a different story. But that's, I mean, just, you know, have that deal amongst you. If you are, that's fine. I mean, I've fucked sleeping people. I've been fucked when I was asleep too. It's logic. She wakes up next to something that's hard for once, she's gonna get on it. You know, that's just logic. Just have that deal amongst you. Just let me know tomorrow so I know what's running out of my ass. It's all good. Here, no such deal. Just go to Sweden and answer a couple of questions. That's the type of things that people read, the conspiracy theory things, or they read stuff like Paulo Coelho. You know, that sort of thing. that fucking idiot, I can't stand him. He's like, well, nothing in the world is ever entirely wrong. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. What the fuck, Paolo? What does that even mean? You know, war, cancer, rape. Nothing in the world is entirely wrong because even a broken clock is right twice a day. Fuck you. Even if it is right twice a day, it's still broken, so you have no idea when it's right. You know? I don't have time to read. That's my biggest problem. I don't have time to read. But you have time to post your fucking runs on Twitter. I ran for half an hour. Hashtag runkeeper. Who gives a fuck? People work out like 15 hours a week. Regular people. What the fuck? You're not gonna be in the Olympics. Relax. People have personal trainers. Ordinary people. Have some guy screaming at them at the gym. You can't even walk into a gym. Not that I do, but I've seen them on TV. You know, there's going to be some guy going, come on, 15 more. Oh, all right. Yeah, thank you for screaming at me. I wasn't really motivated myself to move this weight around since it's obviously not going anywhere anyway. But, you know, thank you. Fuck. I think I'm going to start pushing for personal trainers for books. Maybe that'll push people to read. You know, it's just some nice dude that comes in with a cup of tea. You know. Yeah, come on. One more chapter. Just saying, I think that should be good. Oh, you had enough already? Sorry? Almost. Oh, that's good. Oh, shit, it's hot up here. But you're nice. I was accused of being an anti-Semite as well. That was in New York too, where all the fun stuff happened. This guy came up to me after the show, and I talked a bit about Israel. And I'm not a big fan, because I'm not a big fan of the nation state, any nation state, and I'm not a big fan of God, any version of it. I think that's the two ideas that has to go. That's humanity's two dumbest ideas, the nation state and God. If we get rid of those, maybe we have a chance, you know. So naturally, Israel isn't one of my favorite projects, you know, let's just put it that way. And I was talking about their foreign policy, and, you know, somewhere in this bit I threw a line in that said, you know, I find it interesting that they're building a wall that makes the Berlin Wall look like a garden fence. And this guy came up to me after the show and he was like, I can't believe you did that. That's anti-Semitism, what you were doing on stage. I'm like, I would never. What the fuck do you mean? I might look like a neo-Nazi, but I'm actually one of the good guys, you know? Why? I wouldn't. You're comparing Israel to the Nazis. I didn't. I would never. What the fuck? The Berlin Wall. Wow. You believe the Nazis built the Berlin Wall? You wouldn't be interested in putting some money on a game of Trivial Pursuit, would you? Because I think we could have some fun. I'm not only a feminist in favor of porn, I'm also in favor of prostitution, which puts me in a very lonely position in Sweden, at least, you know. I'm talking male prostitution here. I'm just saying, I think that would be great for women's liberations if they could go fuck a professional when they were horny, instead of having to put up with some dude in his 4 days old underwear playing Xbox before they start. You know, I think that could be a lift for women. You know, that's all I'm saying. And if you agree to that, you should agree to female prostitution as well, because it's the exact same thing. Well, what about trafficking? Well, I'm not talking about trafficking. I am against that. But that's not all prostitution. I'm just saying, if people want to exchange money for sex, that should be perfectly legal if everybody is consenting and we live in a reasonably free world. In Sweden, of course, you cannot. It's illegal to buy sex in Sweden. It's not illegal to sell it, though, which is strange. Even stranger is the passage in the law that says it's illegal in Sweden to exchange sex for alcoholic beverages. I'm pretty sure that law is not enforced very often. But it's illegal to fuck for money in Sweden unless you film it. Because then you're making porn. And that's perfectly legal. That's a really odd law. You know, the cops storm in. Oh, what are you doing? Fucking for money? Oh, sorry, didn't see the camera. That's obviously none of our business. Grown-ups fucking for money. As long as you film it, that's okay. You know, we just want to partake. Yeah, I am considered an alcoholic in Sweden as well. Not in other countries, because other countries, they're like, what, you drink like 4 beers a day? That's nothing. In Sweden, it's like, 1 a week. That could be a bit too much. I don't consider alcoholism a disease, though. You know, it's just a hobby. That gets out of control after a couple of years, you know. Yeah, well, my alcoholism is a disease. Yeah, the same way smashing your own knee with a hammer is a disease. You know what's going to happen if you keep it up for a while. And I'm not going to be, complaining about it either when I'm out there on some park bench with a 3-legged German shepherd doing the exact same thing I'm doing now, but without you. I'm still going to be, happy about it. I really think that young people, you're fucked. Because you're so fucking stupid. I mean, I did a gig in a school, like a university, back in Sweden, and they were 20-something, and these guys came up to me and they were like, well, really interesting, because I, as always, talked a bit about, politics, racism, religion, whatever, and they came up to me and they were like, really interesting, but we really want to know your thoughts on something. And I was like, good, that's why I'm here. What do you want to know? We want to know, what do you think about zombies? I think maybe there aren't enough school shootings in this country. That's what I think. I'm really sorry if I, came across as me, but I am. I'm just, I think that people, we're fucked, because everybody does the same thing. I've done it too. You attend an education that you hate. And the only reason you struggle through that education is you can get a job, and the job you're going to hate even more than the education you struggle through. The only reason you keep the job is you can buy a house. That house you're going to end up hating more than the job and the education combined, because the only time you spend in it, it's together with somebody you hardly know anymore. I mean, you never fuck. You definitely never speak. If you do, it's not about something interesting, which it could be. That's probably how you met from the start. And you're just so fucking bored out of your mind, and you just want to get out of there, but you can't, because you're a fucking pussy. That's life for most. I mean, I was the same. I was married for 5 years, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. I remember I was in the shower one day, and I was thinking to myself, fuck, I hate this life. I mean, I wouldn't want to get a divorce. That would be bad, my father being a priest and all, but if she died... Oh, if she only died, I'd probably fuck somebody ugly at her funeral. Just, if she would only die. So, naturally, we had to get that divorce, Not because I thought that in the shower, that would be a stupid reason, but because she heard me say that joke once. And, yeah, my girlfriend, she really stumped me the other day. We were just about to start fucking, and she whispers, honey, couldn't you share some of your sexual fantasies? No. I mean, sounds pretty stupid, don't you think? Sharing sexual fantasies with somebody who's not necessarily going to be in them? I mean, we've been together 10 years. How do I answer that question correctly? I can't. Either I'd have to lie to her, say something really boring like, no, honey, we've already done everything I wanted to try. She'd leave me for that. Or I'd share a fantasy. That would be even worse. If I went, yeah, honey, do you remember when we went to Las Vegas that time? When we saw Cirque du Soleil do that sexy erotic show? Do you remember that? The sexy Cirque du Soleil show? When they had that midget flying in a drape?
I want to fuck one of those. But it shouldn't be like a good-looking circus midget with makeup and stuff. I want a dirty, ugly, bearded, smelly midget. You know, it's got to be depressing. It's under an overpass because it's raining. You know, it's a Tuesday. I have no idea why it's a Tuesday, but that's just the way it is. I'm angry. Midget is angry. I have no idea why we're angry, but that's just, you know, the way my fantasy goes. And the midget has a peg leg. You know, you can shove it down in the grass. You can go boing. Midget goes back and forth like one of those things at the kids' playground. You can get on it for a while and have a go, and then you hold the other leg out while you fuck the little midget like crazy, and you jerk his tiny midget cock off from behind. Yeah, that's a fantasy of mine, honey. Just wouldn't be good. You know, you'd have to spend the rest of that relationship explaining that fantasy. You know, whatever you were doing, eating breakfast cereal or whatever, you know. Honey, I was joking about the midget, you know. Let it go, you know. Big discussion every time you wanted to meet a short friend, you know. Just wouldn't be good. Wouldn't be good. You've been a fantastic audience. Thank you very much for coming out and letting me do this. Thank you very much. Good night.